Good morning. So nice to have you begin your day, or at least join us midday on this beautiful time in the Tennessee Valley. We're kicking things off with a conversation that really is good for pretty much anybody this morning. If you are a senior, deciding if you want to stay living in your home, considering a move perhaps to independent living. If you are the adult child as your parents are getting older, wondering if it's time to begin having that conversation. That's how we are beginning the show this morning, because Carol Menninger is back from Rockbridge Oaks. Good to see you.
Thank you, Julie. You too.
And you said, I'm not wanting to be pushy, but you want people to know what's out there, and often watching this show allows people to hear about things, because y'all have been having this sort of opportunity for folks to come in and get their name on the list, so to speak, for the first to move in, but that time is coming to an end, sort of.
Yes. Well, the exciting thing is that construction is just about complete. And just like most developers who build brand new homes in neighborhoods, Rockbridge Oaks has an incentive or a program or a perk where if you sign on before the construction is completed, you get the lowest pricing that we will ever have.
Gotcha. Plus, are you still doing the $2,000 in goodies?
Yes, that's part of it. So we're framing it and calling it the last chance to be first.
Okay.
And it really does help people who feel like they'd like to consider the move to our assisted living community, but something holds them up, or many things hold them up, because it is a big decision.
It's a big decision on lots of different levels, and sometimes it's not something you can even fully understand until you've walked it. And then once you've walked it, often it becomes either a passion or at least an eye-opener, and you want to share with other people. So you have found that in the form of a realtor in town. Her business is Houses with Holly.
Yes.
Because she's walked the walk, right?
Yes, that's right. She was a realtor at the time that she helped her parents move and decide when to move, working with her siblings. P.S. This all took place in Texas. So she has so much sensitivity to what it takes for a family to make the decision and make the decision happen. And I think she makes the terrific combination of those sensitivities and smart business as a realtor. And so it's part of why we work closely together. She's not the only realtor we work with, but I've watched her serve customers and potential residents so well.
So I haven't walked the walk. So help me understand it a little bit. If someone is coming and they're considering making the move, but perhaps they've been living in the house that they raised their children in, and they've been in there for 50 years. Does Holly, or anybody else, but would she step in to help know either, do you want to clear everything out and have it all resolved before you move in? Do you want to move in and let somebody else help handle the sale? Is that kind of what she does, is coordinate with them?
Well, that coordination becomes a lot of what I do or choose to do, only because it makes so much sense, and because I've done it for so many years, I have an understanding. So Holly is the realtor, and that's her role. She's really good at it, very sensitive and kind and patient. And then I've got other people I work with who can haul off stuff that we don't want, who can take the stuff that we do want and ship it to our daughters. So we've formed a very nice team of all of those services, which I think best represents Rockbridge Oaks, and what we aim to do for our residents is anything it takes.
You said something that you just kind of glossed over, but I bet a lot of people heard it. I did. I've been doing this for a long time.
Yes.
That makes a difference, because what's the old saying that you don't know what you don't know?
Yes.
So you sort of know what to prompt people with, the questions to ask, the checklist, if you will.
Yes, I've fine-tuned a checklist that I think helps streamline the thought process and the task process, and even sort of cuts it into part 1, part 2, part 3, and I've come to understand that that's helpful. Otherwise, it's a very big task to try to think through, and nearly every family that I've worked with has said some sort of phrase like, we just feel a little embarrassed that we don't know more of what to do, but you wouldn't until you're in the middle of it.
Right.
So
refresh my memory too. Let's kind of do an overview, if you will, of Rockbridge Oaks. Yes. Is it specific? It's not specifically independent living. You have an assisted living component, correct?
We're only assisted living and memory care, as a matter of fact, but that's such an important topic for us to talk about because so many of our residents are very independent, and perhaps their spouse is not, or perhaps they have a neurological condition or even vision or hearing decline that they know will progress. So while they may feel and act very independent at the time that they move in, when that changes, everything is at their fingertips.
Okay, so would that mean that if you've got a married couple and one of them is needing some assistance and the concern is, gee, how is mom or dad going to do this on their own? Even if the other spouse is not suffering in that same way, they can come together?
That's exactly right, and exactly what Rockbridge Oaks offers that's somewhat unique. And because our memory care program is even within the house, I call it, while the apartments are separate and the staff that will care for them is specifically selected and trained, it's within the same house. So if one person in a couple does have some very advanced dementia, they can both still live within the same community.
Okay.
And that's life-changing for many families. Yes. And it's one of my favorite truths about Rockbridge Oaks.
I would imagine if you are talking the way things are structured in the memory care part of it, the layout is probably going to be a little bit different just by necessity. And I know you're still completing the build, so we don't have a physical thing to look at yet, but on the blueprint, doesn't each apartment have kind of a patio area? Like there's a lot of outdoor
There's a lot of outdoor space. They each have beautiful oversized windows, which lets in some really lovely natural light. And then 2 or 3 areas within the community have screened porches and fenced paved gardens and walkways. So lots of outdoor and indoor places to enjoy.
Palms Court is the name of the road. That might not be familiar by name to people, but the area is, if you can picture East Brainerd just off of the interstate near Concord Road, right, at I-75 in East Brainerd. So it's in the hub, but it's nestled into kind of a residential feel.
Very much, and so convenient to the expressway and highway choices. And if you were to turn the other direction, it's less than a mile from the mall and all of the medical offices and hospital sort of auxiliary locations. So it's very convenient.
And when you're there, if you should come and maybe your kids don't live here or something, is transportation to doctor's offices and things included?
It is included.
Okay, and the food is good?
The food will be good, yes. We're interviewing chefs and being very particular about who comes to join us.
Okay, so I'm not going to say this right, but this is your last chance to be first.
That is right.
When does that end? What's the timeline?
The timeline is about 8 weeks from now. So a family has about 8 weeks to make a fully refundable deposit, get all of those savings that you mentioned, get their first choice of apartment, and be part of a really lovely community.
Okay, so here is how you can find them. As we said before, they are over on Palms Court in East Brainerd. The phone number, 558-2000. Online, it's rockbridgeoaks.com. If you do want to schedule an appointment, Carol would love that. That way she can be ready for you the minute you walk in the door. But if you should be shopping in the Hamilton Place area and just think, you know what, let's swing by, you feel free to do that too, and her smile will still greet you at the door. We're back after this.